Hello everyone, we will make a clock, an analog and a digital clock using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Let's see how our final project will look like. So you can see there's an analog clock on the top and at the bottom there's a digital clock. Let's dive right into it and see how we can code this. Let us start coding with our index.html file. Let us give the doc type tag, the HTML tag, every HTML file has a head and a body. Let's give it a head and a body. Let us give our project a title. Let's save it. Let us look at our project once. So you can see the project is currently empty. The title is clock. Let us now bring in the elements one by one using our HTML file. So firstly, what we need to create is the clock itself. So let us firstly try to create the clock. So in the clock, we have the numbers 1 to 12 and the point in between. So in the clock, the first thing we need is the numbers from 1 to 12. Let us try to create them. Let us create a div. Let's give it a class name clock dial. Let's create another div. Let's give it a class name point. So this point will act as the center of the clock, to which all the three hands of the clock will be attached to. Let us now create the numbers. Div class name hour 1. Let's write 1 here. So in a similar fashion, we'll give number 1 to 12. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll change the class name accordingly. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Let us save it. Let us again look at the project. Let's refresh this. So we can see that numbers from 1 to 12 have appeared on the screen. But this is not how they appear in the clock. So let us try to place them properly using CSS before we proceed. Let's connect the style sheet to this index.html. Link relation style sheet href style.css. Let us now open the style.css and try to style the numbers 1 to 12. Let us make the clock dial first. Let's edit the clock dial class. Let's give it a width of 500 pixels, height 500 pixels. Let's give it a border 20 pixels, solid brown color border 563 727. Let's give it a background color RGBA 222 158 72 and 0.4. Let's give it a border radius of 50%, margin 0 and auto, position relative and box shadow 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 20 pixels, and black. Let us save it. Let us look at our project. So you can see the dial is visible on the screen, but the numbers aren't positioned correctly yet. Let us now work on positioning these numbers correctly. Let us style the hour class. Let's give it a font size 30 pixels, font weight, bold, color 372C to E, and position absolute. Let us now place the numbers one by one. So firstly, we'll place the number 12 at the correct position. So hour 12. So we'll give it a margin from the top of 10 pixels, and from the left 235 pixels. Now we will place the number 1 and 11. They're on either sides of 12. Let's place 1 correctly. We'll give it a margin top of 40 pixels, and from the right we'll give it a margin of 130 pixels. Now 11 has to be placed exactly on the opposite side of 1. So we'll give the same margin from the top, that is 40 pixels. This time we will give margin from the left side. So left, - 130 pixels. Let us save it and look at our project once. So you can see 12, 11 and 1 are placed correctly now. Let us in a similar fashion place all the numbers correctly. Let us now place 2 and 10. (125 pixels from top), and from the right side let's give it 45 pixels. Let's style 10 now. From the top let's give it a margin of 125 pixels, and from the left 45 pixels. Let's save it. Let us look at the project. So 2 and 10 are also placed correctly. Next we will place 3 and 9. So from the top let's give it a margin of 235 pixels, and from the right 10 pixels. Let us now style 9. So from the top we have given a margin of 235 pixels. This is same as 3, and from the left side we will give it a margin of 10 pixels. Let's save it. Let us look at the project. 3 and 9 are also placed correctly now. Let us now style 4 and 8. Top margin 345 pixels, right margin for 8. Top margin will remain the same as 4. It's 345 pixels, and left margin. Let us now style 5 and 7. So for 5, top margin 430 pixels, and from the right 130 pixels. For 7, from the top, let's give it 430 pixels, and from the left, 130 pixels. Let us place 6 now. So 6 will be directly under 12. So from the bottom, let's give it 10 pixels, and from the left, it will be 240 pixels. Let us save it. So all the numbers have been placed correctly onto the tile. So in the final project, there is a dot in the between to which all these hands are connected. Let's create this dot now. Let us style the point class. Let's give it a width 20 pixels, height 20 pixels, background color brown 563 727, border radius 50%, position absolute, top, so it has to be in the middle of the clock. So from top it will be 240 pixels, and from left 240 pixels. Let us save it. Let us look at our project. So you can see the dot has appeared on the screen. We will now make the hour hand, minute hand, and the second hand. Let's create a div for the minute hand. Let's give it the ID minute hand. Okay, let's give it a class minute hand. Let's make another div with class hand, and another div with class arrow. So the div hand will act as the actual hand, and the V, we will use that as the arrow on top of the hand. So similarly, we need to make the hour hand and the second hand. Let's just copy this code. Let's change minute to hour. Let us once again paste this code, and this time we'll change minute to second. Now we will use CSS to actually create those hands. So currently the divs for hand is completely empty. We need to create it using CSS. Let's see how we'll do that. So minute wrapper. Let's give it a width 400 pixels, height 400 pixels, position absolute, top 50 pixels, and left 50 pixels. Let's give it a border radius of 50%. So when we give anything a border radius of 50%, it becomes a complete circle. We did something similar with the clock dial as well. Here we created a box that is square basically with 500 pixels and height 500 pixels. Then we gave it a border radius of 50%. So that is how we created a circular tile. Let's move forward. Minute, hand, position, relative. Let us now style the hand in the minute hand class. So minute hand, hand with 4 pixels. Let's give it a height 200 pixels. Background color 563727. Position absolute left 198 pixels. Let us save it now. Let us look at our project once. Let's refresh it. So you can see the hand has appeared. You can see these 3 V's here. We haven't styled them properly yet. After styling, they will look like arrows. Let us style the V for the minute hand first. So minute hand, arrow. Let's give it a font size 30 pixels. Font weight bold. Color. Let's give it the same color as the hand. 563727. Position absolute. Transform, rotate 180 degrees. So we are basically rotating the V 180 degrees so it looks like an arrow. So by rotating 180 degrees it basically becomes upside down. Left 190 pixels. Top minus 7 pixels. Let us save it. Let us now look at the project once. So we can see it has started to look like an arrow. Let us further style it. Let us give some properties which are common to all the elements in the body. For that we'll use the body tag here. Let's give it a font family. Arial. Helvetica. Sans serif. Padding 20 pixels. Background color RGBA 222.158.72 and 0.2. Let's save it. Let us look at our project now. So you can see the V is now looking like a proper arrow. We have to do the same thing for the hour and the second hand as well. So let's make those. Let us copy all the code that we made for the minute hand. Let's change it to, let us now style the hour hand. So let's change it to hour, and hour. Let's give it a width of 300 pixels, height of 300 pixels. From the top, let's give it a top of 100 pixels and left of 100 pixels. Let's give it a height of 150 pixels. And left of 148 pixels. Let us give the arrow left of 140 pixels. So the hour hand is also done. Let us now work on the second hand. So currently you can see in the project the minute hand is exactly on top of the hour hand, so we can't see them distinctly. when these hands will move, we'll be able to see them distinctly. Let us again paste here the same code. We will now change minute to second. Let's give it a width of 350 pixels, height of 350 pixels. From the top 75 pixels, from the left 75 pixels. Let's give it a width of 2 pixels, height of 175 pixels. From the left 174 pixels. We will not be giving an arrow over the second hand. So let's delete this. Let's go to the HTML file. Let us delete this as well. Let us save it. Let us now try to understand how exactly do the arms of a clock move. Firstly, we will look at the hour hand. Let us first try to understand how the seconds arm moves. So when a seconds arm complete one round of the clock, it is 1 minute or 60 seconds. So we have a total of 360 degrees in one circle and 60 seconds. So for each second, the second arm will move 6 degrees. So for every second, the seconds arm will move 6 degrees. Moving forward, let us now understand how the minutes arm moves. So when a minutes arm completes one complete circle, how many minutes pass? That is 1 hour or 60 minutes. So again, we have 360 degrees in one circle and 60 minutes. So for every minute, the minutes arm will move 6 degrees. We will now try to understand how the hour arm works. So when an hour arm completes one circle, there are 12 hours. And there are 360 degrees in a complete circle divided by 12 hours. How many degrees do we get per hour? That is 30 degrees. So the hour hand also moves with the passing minutes. So at 2, it is at a different location. At 2:30, it is again at a different location. So for every hour, it moves a complete 30 degrees. But inside this 30 degrees, we have 60 minutes. So for each minute, it will move half a degree. So these 30 degrees, we have 60 minutes. So it will be 0.5 degrees. So the hour arm moves half a degree for every passing minute. And this calculation we'll use to make our clock arms move. So let's see how we can code this. Let us now start coding the JavaScript file. Before that, we have to include the JavaScript file into our index.html file. So how do we do that? We do that with a simple script tag. Let us now close the script tag. And we are done. So we have created a logic.js file to hold our JavaScript code. So let's start coding. First of all, let us make some variables. So second is for second, minute for minute, and hour for hour. So now we are using the keyword set interval. So what does set interval do? Basically, it declares a function that is called after every certain period of time. That period of time is also decided by the coder. Let's see how we use this. Basically, we give a function here. And the second argument it takes is the interval of time in milliseconds. So if we give 1000 milliseconds, that means that this function is called after every second. Let's see why we need to do that. Let's create an object of the date class. So second is d dot get seconds. Get seconds function is used to get the seconds from your system clock. So we know that for every second the hand will move 6 degrees, so we'll just multiply this by 6. We'll do a similar thing for the minute dot get minutes into 6. Again, for every minute the minute's hand will move 6 degrees, so we just multiplied this by 6. Let us calculate the hour now. D dot get hours. So for every hour the hand will move 30 degrees, so we'll multiply this by 30. But in addition to this, for every minute this hand will move half a degree more. So we have already multiplied the minute by 6. We'll divide it by 12 to make it half. So we'll use math dot round function here, minute by 12. So math dot round just rounds off the value, that's it. So in second we have how many degrees we want the second hand to turn. In minute we have how many degrees we want the minute hand to turn, and in hour we have how many hour we want the hour hand to turn. Now we just have to make them turn. Document dot get element by ID, second hand, style dot transform is equal to, we want to rotate it by second degree. We'll do a similar thing for the hour hand and the minute hand as well. So here we'll use minute degree. Now we will rotate the hour hand by hour degrees. So we'll make it hour hand and hour degree. And we are done. Let us save it. Let us now go to the project and see how it looks. Now you can see the clock is showing the current time. So the analog clock is done. Moving on to the digital clock now. Digital clock is a bit easier than this because we don't even have to calculate how much the arms have to move. We just have to get the time from the system and display it. That's it. So let's see how we'll do that. First of all, let us add the suitable code to the HTML file. We'll just create a div for the digital clock now. We'll give it the ID digital container. Let's close the div. Let's create a few spans inside the div to show the time. So span ID, let's make it equal to digital hour. Let's start it with 00. Let's create another span to give the colon mark. We'll just copy this code 2 more times, make it digital minute and digital second. So we don't need the colon after the seconds. The next thing we need is a AM or PM, right? We have to reflect whether it is AM or PM. So we'll give it another span with ID equal to session. Let's initially keep it to AM. If it's PM, we'll change it to PM. Let's save it. Let us see how our project looks now. Let's refresh this. we can see that the 00 AM time is reflecting on the screen. So let's move forward. Let us style the digital clock a little bit. So at the bottom, let us choose the digital container. Let's give it a border, 10 pixels. Let's make it a ridge. So ridge is a 3D border. We'll just see how this border looks. Let's give it a black color. Let's make the font family Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif. Let's give it a padding of 10 pixels. Margin top of 50 pixels. Position relative. Color black. Font weight bold. Font size 30 pixels. Text line center and box shadow 5 pixels. 10 pixels of color 888888. Let's save it. Let us see how our clock looks now. Let's refresh this. So you can see that it is looking good, but it is not reflecting the correct time. Let us use the JavaScript file to make it reflect the correct time as well. So the code is very similar. We'll create another function. Let's call this function display time. We want this function to be called every second as well. So we'll just call it here. Now we'll create the function display time. We'll create a variable date time new date. We'll create a variable for hours. So it's date time dot get hour. We'll create a variable for minutes. It's date time dot get minutes. Now we'll create a variable for seconds. So it's variable second. It's date time dot get seconds. Now we'll get the session. So variable session equal to document dot get element by ID session. How will we decide if it is AM or PM? So if hours is greater than or equal to 12, we know that it is PM. Session dot inner HTML is equal to PM. Else it is AM. If hours greater than 12, then hours equal to hours minus 12. Now we'll just change the hour to the appropriate hour. So document dot get element by ID digital hour dot inner HTML. We'll change it to hours. We'll do something similar for minutes and seconds as well. So we'll change it to digital minute. Here we'll write second and digital second. And we are done. Let us save it. Let us now look at the project. Let's refresh this. And you can see the analog as well as the digital clock are both showing current time. We will now host this project online. We will go to netlify.com. So here you need to sign up if you don't have an account already. I already have an account here, so I'll simply log in. I'll go to login. From here I'll go to sites, upload. I'll go to where my project is and upload all the files here. Click upload. And the files are now uploading on the website. So it has been uploaded. Go to site settings, change site name, change it to any name that you like. It should just be available. I'm keeping the name clock victory point. Save. Go to the top, click on the link, and now you can share this URL with anyone in the world, and that person will also be able to see your project. Thank you so much for watching the video. The link to the source code is in the description below. See you in the next one.